go time, baby. It's go time. I have the privilege of introducing our celebrity guest tonight. I call him my skip the line brother. He's my skip the line brother. And we don't have time to go into it tonight, but send me a message on Instagram and I'll tell you the story behind him being my skip the line brother. But our celebrity guest tonight, there's really nothing he can't do. I mean, he's been through the thick and thin and he knows what it takes to be successful. And I mean, whether it comes to entrepreneurship, whether it comes to single family real estate investing, multifamily real estate investing, starting a coaching business, succeeding on Amazon, being an outstanding man of faith, a family man. There's nothing that he can't do. And he means a whole lot to me. And I'm extremely grateful to be able to have him on tonight. And again, with the Freedom Chasers round two. So without further ado, y'all, let's give a warm Freedom Chasers welcome to Mr. Keston Glasgow.
What's up? What's up? What's up,
Let's
man?
go, brother. Let's go, my brother Keston. Let's get you
How you
pinned, man.
doing?
I'm doing good, man. Let's make sure you're pinned so you are front and center. So you are front and center, man. Let's see. Where are you here? Caleb, can you help me get Keston pinned? So it's not just my goofy looking mug here pinned. Let's see. Keston, brother, glad that you're here tonight. Glad that you're here tonight. We got so much to unpack. I was just, you know, anytime we have an activation Zoom, I just take a few minutes to reflect and like, man, how can we just mine the riches, dig out the gold of our celebrity guests? And I really enjoyed just taking a few minutes just to do that. And I'm excited to unpack so many different things with you. So, all right, have we got Keston pinned yet, y'all?
Trevor, I appreciate that, man. And
Here we
before
go.
we get started, I want the people who's here to do me a quick favor because this is the way I start every single Zoom. Doesn't matter if I'm a guest or if I'm the host. I like to see the chats get filled up with some fires in the chat. Could y'all do that for me real quick? Could we fill the chat with some fires? Could we bring that energy? Let me
Come
see
on.
some fires in the chat, y'all. Come on, we got to get some more fires. I know it's after 8 where I'm at, but let me see some fires in the chat. Show me that you guys are here to gain something out of tonight. I only see a few fires, so that means just a few people are here to get some things tonight. This is what I'm talking about, y'all. This is what you show up with. That expectation is what we need every single time, man. So I appreciate you guys. Trevor, my brother, what's the
Mm.
dealio, man?
Dude, you know, I have nothing but love for you, bro. I have nothing but love for you. And I hope just a small percentage, I try to convey that to you every time I get a chance to interact with you, Keston. I wish I could somehow make that more tangible and just send it your way, man. But I hope you just at least can feel a small percentage of just how much you mean to me, bro.
Most
So thank you for being
definitely,
here tonight.
man.
Dude,
Most
let's
definitely.
let's get into your story a little bit, Keston. Let's just spend a couple of minutes because I think it's always good to understand someone's backstory, right? Where they come from, what was their upbringing like, just kind of where they were at leading up into maybe their career pursuits before they get into real estate investing or real entrepreneurship. So, could you just walk us through that phase of your life for me, please?
Yeah, man. So my story starts where I came from Trinidad. I'm an immigrant. My family and I, we moved to this country here in 2002. 2002 is when we moved from Trinidad. We went straight to New York City, Brooklyn. And when I started there in Brooklyn as an immigrant, the only thing that I could really do to help my parents was to clean my church. And so I started out with helping clean the church, moved on from that to starting to do some construction. Then from construction, I started handing out flyers for Golden Crust. And so I started doing so many different things, not being able to provide or just walk in and get a job. And I was 16 when I moved to this country. And when I got into college, I went through high school and I started college. Matter of fact, I was laughing with my wife recently because I was that dude that got pushed back into doing remedial math. Like I was a kid, like school was not my thing at all. Didn't like school at all. And so I spent a lot of time in the pool hall studying pool instead of school. So that's what I spent a lot of time doing, man. And I changed my major 3 times because I every time I started with something, it required me to think. And I didn't want to think. I just wanted to use my hands to do something at that time to just kind of breeze through life. And so I ended up, once my parents said, okay, bro, you got to get a little bit more serious with life. I chose computer science because my father had taught me how to build computers with the whole Y2K thing. So I'm like, you know what? Let me use this as an opportunity. I know computers. I've been building computers for a few years. And so I jumped into computers and I went to school in New York at York College. And in my third year, when I got into York College, that's when one of my teachers, who was over the lab, because I started to take this camera live studio class, and he told me I could get a job. And when he told me I could get a job, man, it was the happiest time of my life. Now I didn't have to go out and do all this hard work. Now I could finally work inside of a lab. And after 5 days of working, he came back to me and he said, Keston, unfortunately, you can't work here anymore because they wouldn't take your student visa. And that broke me. Literally bursted out in tears right there. Really super emotional about it. Went home crying. And the young lady that I was dating at the time, like I was crying in front of her, and she was like, well, dude, we like each other. You're a hard worker. Let's just get married. I'm like, oh, shoot, cool. So got married, got my papers, but that day made me promise to myself that I'll never be lazy one day in this America ever. Because I knew what it was like to not have that paper. And once I got that paper that made me able to work, that's where it all started. That's where the drive came, where I went from being this class, this C student to full drive and wanting to achieve and accomplish now that I had this paper. And so I started out in Apple was actually my first job. Started from being in the on the floor to work my way up to being a genius. Then I moved on to working at Macy's corporate. I actually was the personal IT guy for the CEO of Macy's for a year and change. Moved from there to my cybersecurity job, where I actually started at the help desk. Worked my way up from the help desk at the law firm to then doing security engineer. And just every job I've had, I just continue to work my way up, work, because I had this vision that, or this drive that I'll never, ever be lazy ever again. And I don't know if anyone here could relate to this, but, and I want to see in the chat, does anybody remember when they made their first 50,000 or 100,000? It was like, God, okay, if I ever get to this number, I'm not going to need anything ever again in life. And then you get there and it's like, okay. That was good one. Thank you for that. But now the number is 150, right? Like and it just keeps going up and up and up. And so when I started hitting my numbers, I got to the point where I realized that there was something more to life that just wasn't about money. Because every single time I make this promise to God, like as soon as I get that promise, I would desire more. It was this thing on the inside of me that just really wanted more. And that took me to 2020 where I decided that that was it. I wanted to pursue this thing that was burning inside of me. And that's what got me to start real estate while I was a
Mm.
cybersecurity engineer. And in pursuing real estate, my wife and I, when we invested in our first program, we spent that 30K, went all in. Like, spending 30K as a 9 to 5er, it was like all that we had. Matter of fact, I didn't even have it. I put it on a card. We pulled a line of
Right.
credit and it was like, let's go all in, right?
That's
So
right.
in 2020, well, guess what happened in a few months after, in January 2020? By March, COVID hit, the world shut down. And
Right.
so when the world shut down, we were in this limbo of wondering, what do we do with our life? Right? Like, is this one of those woe is me type of things, or do we still pursue and push through? And once we pursued, things started to change. Matter of fact, I was still that guy that had a few jobs because I was doing Uber in the morning. I was still doing, I was coming home and doing a t-shirt company with my wife, all still while having a 9 to 5 job, because I'm like, people make $1 million. How do I make $1 million? See, I graduated from the 100K, right? I'm like,
That's
okay,
right.
let's go to a million. And so it's like, how do they do it? And I thought that if I could only fill the time of work, that I would make $1 million, because I would wake up at 4, do Uber from 4 to like 6 or 7, go to my 9 to 5 job, come back home and still grind. And we just couldn't, like, $1 million still seemed very far. And
Hmm.
so when we started real estate, I was doing calls during work, on my lunch breaks, and then I hired a high performance coach. And this is where everything changed for me, because it wasn't about the time that I had, which we all have the same 24 hours, but it was what we do at that time. And
Yep.
my high performance coach was able to help me to really structure the important things to do in my time. And it changed everything. It changed everything so much that I left my job before doing one deal, because I had the confidence that because of what she showed me, I was going to be successful. It was like, I had no doubt in my mind she had unlocked the thing for me. And so I left my job in July of 2020, July 1st, 2020. My wife and I, we moved here to where we are now in Georgia, and we started wholesaling. And so once we started wholesaling from July to December of 2020, we wholesaled 1.5 times my 6-figure salary.
Wow.
In 2021, we went from 1 to 21 doors using other people's money, right? And the reason why we stopped wholesaling and started holding property, because as a 9 to 5er, I realized that you could wholesale a deal, and that's awesome. It's great to get big checks, right? It's amazing. But as a 9 to 5er, I was used to getting paid every month.
That's
And
right.
so the only thing that could get you paid every month is cash flow. Let me see if y'all with me right now. Put in the chat cash flow. I
Come
want to make
on.
sure that you guys are here. Put in the chat cash flow.
I like that word. Those
You,
words.
we,
I
we
like
need
those
cash
words.
flow. We need cash flow. There's nothing else that's going to replace you getting that money every single month besides cash flow. And so once we started, we went from 1 to 21 doors. And then in in 2022, that's when we started our multifamily journey. And so that's when we started to buy multifamily. And so now we own a little over $10 million in real estate. We still have some single family properties. We got some multifamily properties. And so that's kind of fast forward. And on that journey, man, is where this desire of wanting to help other people unlock the thing that helped me, which was clarity in understanding what your goals are and how to structure your day to achieve what you need to do. Mindset is one of those things that drives me, but purpose is the other thing. Like understanding who you are, why you're here could fuel your ability to achieve your goals. And so, how I like to explain it is when you understand your purpose, you go from having, when you understand your purpose, you go from having anxiety to anticipation. Because
That's
most
good.
people, they have so much anxiety in waking up and making the calls, calling the brokers, doing the things that they need to because they don't have it connected to that purpose. And so I'll pause there from because you asked me for an intro. Tell me who you are, and I walked all the way to like buying property. So I'll pause right there.
That was good, brother. That's good. Turning anticipation, no, anxiety into anticipation. That's a beautiful phrase right there, Keston. And let's go ahead and make the shift into being a high performer. How, I mean, unlocking and unpacking what that is. I mean, I think maybe a good first question to ask is, how do you define what a high performer is?
So a high performer could be from where you are to a higher level. Because my version of a high performer is going to be very different than others. And I used to try to keep people to my standard of what a high performer is as to who I am. But I'm hardcore, man. I am
I know
I
you are,
I
bro.
am hardcore. I work out every day, 7 days a week. Like I'm in my work. I'm always doing something. I love my wife and my son and daughter who's coming. I give them all of their time. And so for me, I'm always on. Like some of my clients, they want to know more. Like, when are you off? And I'm like, this is who I am. I'm always on. So I had to start releasing my standard of what high performance is from to getting people from where they are to what their desire is. And of course, I'm going to push a little bit more because if you desire what you desire, then you could do a little bit more, right? It's kind of like going to the gym and you kind
Mhm.
of play with the weights until a trainer comes and you start doing more than you thought you could actually do. I'm
Yeah.
the same way, but it starts with your own desires and I push you beyond your goals.
Okay. So what do you say is the first step in becoming a high performer? And I want to differentiate this, Keston, because high performance, I think there's a concept about it where it's just, hey, I'm able to do a lot of stuff in one day. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's in my opinion, and I think and probably in yours as well, that's not necessarily high performance. Okay. So maybe there's some undoing of a concept as it relates to that phrase right there, high performance. But I want to even make the shift into being a high performer,
Mm-hmm.
not just solely what you can do, but who you are, man, who you are. And guys, I'm telling you this: if you ever get around Keston, there's just something flowing out of this guy that just juices you already. And so that's a little bit what I'm tapping into, Keston, is not just being able to do a lot of stuff, not even
Yeah.
just being able to do a lot of stuff just strategically, but you as a person are a high performer. Just, I'm curious to get your thoughts on that. And then a follow-up question is, how does somebody take the first step into becoming a high performer?
I love it. So I would answer both questions with the same answer
Okay.
because it literally takes the first thing every single person who desires to be a high performer that needs to do is to have a clear vision of who they want to be. You have to have a super clear vision of who you desire to be. Anytime I'm going through anything, I could go back to and read exactly who I want to be, exactly my vision for my life, for my family. And so Who do I want to be as a husband? Who do I want to be as a brother? Who do I want to be as a father? It's all written down, super clear as to who I want to be. Because if that's not clear, then what's the target? What are you high performing towards? And so it starts with that clear vision. That's what I've done, and that's what anyone that works with me or anyone that wants to get to another level, you got to start with that. What's that vision story that we're working towards? Because if there's none, then there's nothing to push you towards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, areas of life, you got to have that vision as to who you desire to be.
I like how you started with the who and not the what, right? And
Oh,
just,
yeah.
yeah, just considering the different roles, right? Like what you said, you mentioned husband, father, business owner, whatever else, right? Real estate investor, and then having it written out, putting pen to paper. Who do I want to be in each of these respective roles? Is that, did I
It
capture that accurately?
100%. It always
Okay,
starts with the
cool.
who. One of my mentors, he has this formula that I absolutely love, and it's be, do, have. You got to be,
Ooh,
then you do, then you would have.
that's
If
good.
you don't be or become the person you need to be, then you'll never do the thing you need to do to have the things that you desire to have. And so you
Yeah.
absolutely need to be before you could do. Like before you're a real estate investor, before you could conceptualize real estate, you need to come on these Zooms and become a multifamily investor, right? Only when you become it, then you could start doing it.
Yeah.
Because let me see in the chat, how many people before learning real estate thought a house was just a house, a building was just a building? Drop a one in the chat, right? You just go to work. It's just one of those things that you did. But
Yep. Yep.
now, as a real estate investor, now that you've become a real estate investor, now you see a building as an opportunity. You don't just see it as some place that people live or this thing that I'm walking into. You see it as an opportunity. And so that's the being. You became who you became to start doing the thing. So now you start making calls. I heard Aaron talking about going to Race Fest. Before becoming, he didn't do those things, right? And so be, do, have. Super necessary. That's why we always start with who do you want to be? What's that desire? You start cultivating those habits. You start cultivating the things that's necessary to get and be that person. And then you start doing the things, right? And so the
Wow.
concept comes first. What's that target? What's that vision? It has to start there for anything in life. Anything. What's the vision?
Boom. Activated. Activated with Keston, man. I love it. So I got another question for you here, Keston. So
Yep.
advancement, and this is just my opinion, but I think it's pretty accurate, at least when I look at my life. Advancement can come through either addition or subtraction. What I mean by that, subtraction meaning, hey, there's things that need to be removed from my life for me to
Mm.
advance. And then addition means there's things that need to be added into my life to advance. So, what would you say are in the people that you've coached, what you've seen in your own life, out in the world? What are two or three things that are just like red flags in people's lives that, hey, that's got to go? And then what are like two or three things that you see also help for people propel people to that next level that they can add into their life?
I love it, man. Such a phenomenal question. And I'll answer it like this and then answer it, right? And this
Yes.
this is this is something that I say, but it's gonna help you remember it a lot easier. So
Okay.
your assets will never outgrow your mindset. Never. Your mindset will never outgrow your preset, and your preset will never outgrow your subset. So what do I mean by that? Your asset
Yes.
will never outgrow your mindset. We kind of covered that, right? That's the way that you think, who you become. Like that's necessary. But the part that you asked, I'm going to get to that now because your mindset never outgrows your preset. Your preset is your paradigms, it's your habits. So this is where you have to start subtracting who you were. If you don't understand your paradigms and the habits that you currently have and don't know that you need to change them, you'll never advance. And
Yep.
your preset is in your subconscious. Your preset, most people don't even know that they have it. Case in point, how many people has ever known what to do, but you just don't do it, right? Like
Guilty,
we
bro.
all know how to live a healthy life. Why don't we just don't do it,
Yeah.
right? There's so many people that I talk to and I'm like, bro, why are you doing that? I'm like, that's the wrong thing. And they're like, I know, but why do you keep doing it? I don't know. But you know that is wrong. I know. So why do you keep
Yeah.
doing it? I don't know. It's your presets. Because your preset, it's let's break it down. Here's where I normally would pull out a whiteboard and start drawing, right? Your
Uh-huh.
your thoughts, your thoughts control your
Yeah.
feelings controls your actions controls your results. Let's break that down. Your thoughts is in your conscious mind. Those are the things
Mhm.
that you learn and you know about. Your feelings is in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is where your paradigms live. And so if your thoughts control your feeling, then your feelings controls your actions. Your presets is where your feelings is at, your subconscious mind. That doesn't necessarily, like, if that doesn't change and that doesn't get recoded into something else, it doesn't matter all the information that you would always procrastinate. You're not going to
Mhm.
take action because your feelings control your action, which is why I said change anxiety to anticipation. Because
Yeah.
when you anticipate, you're like, think about going on vacation. You're excited and you're so full of joy when you're going on vacation.
That's right.
But when you gotta public speak or do something, you have anxiety. And so you're like, man, and so that feeling makes you do different things. And so if you're not able to change that preset of knowing how to feel and knowing the paradigms that keeps you where you are today, you're never going to do the thing you need to do to close the deals. And so that's one of the things you got to subtract. And the third part of what I shared with you is that your preset will never outgrow your subset. What's your subset? It's your environment. You gotta
Mm.
change your environment. We are all subsets of different environments. Your environment is what programmed your preset. The things that your parents taught you, all of those things was fed into us when we were kids, when we were babies, when we didn't have an intellectual mind. And so
Mhm.
it was poured right into our subconscious. And so when we believe we know what we want to do, we're still controlled by our preset. So you now have to change your subset, which is your environment. And when you change your environment, then you could start reprogramming your preset. And so, us leaving New York and being here in Georgia, I always say this: we will never be where we are today had we not left New York. And it's so hard to say because I left my son, I left my parents. Like they were all, my parents lived upstairs from me. My son lived less than 5 minutes away from me. Now I live hours away from them. But I stand here to tell you today that if we never left, we would have never been in the position that we are in today, simply because our environment would have kept us exactly where we were.
Wow. But which I mean, Zoom tonight here, right, Kess? Fits into the subset. Showing up here
100%.
and
Yep.
I mean, just being in the same room as you, bro. And thankfully, because of how I fit into this equation here, that I get to directly engage you and our celebrity guest. And guys, I'm telling you, just having conversations with people that come here on Monday night, I get leveled up just by being in proximity and being able to engage them as a part of my subset to then affect my preset, and then it's a domino effect. Um,
Ooh, let's go.
Come on, brother. Kes, the preset is a little bit tricky, right? Because
Mhm.
you said the preset relates to our subconscious mind, which, man, we don't even know everything that's going on under there, right? And so my question is, how in the world do we unpack the layers and figure out what is within our subconscious mind? What are our paradigms? Because if we don't know what's in there, how in the world can we change them?
Bro, amazing, amazing question. And this is where I spend the most time with my clients, the absolute most time, because you just never know, right? Here's how you know, though. Well, let me not say you never know. It takes the most time to reprogram.
Hmm.
That's what it does. You know based on someone's actions. That's how you know, because the formula is still the same. Am I breaking up? Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, you're
The
back, bro.
formula
We
is still
caught
the
we caught
same.
everything though. We caught everything. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your thoughts control your feelings controls your actions controls your results. If you tell me what your results are, I could tell you what actions you're taking, and then I could tell you what's controlling you.
Wow.
Literally.
Okay.
Literally. And so because you're so here's what's also in your subconscious, your identity. How you see yourself lives in your subconscious. And so how you show up, the things that you do is going to affect how you act. And so when you act a certain way and you do certain things, I could tell, oh yeah, that person subconscious is on this level. They vibrate on this level, right? So it's really just reverse engineering, just looking at what actions are you taking, and that's how I deal with people, clients. Tell me what you're doing, tell me where you are, tell me what actions you're taking or not taking. I could tell you what's going on. I don't really care what's in your mind, so to speak, because I don't know about you guys, but I know a lot of very intelligent broke people.
Yeah,
A whole
that's
lot.
right.
I know
That's
a
right.
lot of intelligent people who don't take action, who are, they work for, like, not even FedEx. They work for like CVS or something, right? They have a Harvard University degree, but there's a disconnect there. Why? Because they know how to remember things. They're
Mm,
intelligent in their intellectual mind, but their subconscious mind, they see themselves as something else. And so how you see yourself is going to show up as to how you act and what you do. And then it gives you the results that you have. So that's how I'm able to tell what's going on in someone's subconscious,
wow. That's
even my own,
incredible, bro. That's
even
incredible,
my
man.
own.
Kess, I have so many questions I want to ask you, but I want to poll the audience really quick. Can y'all get ready to participate in the chat? I want to get you guys feedback. Okay. I can still ask some questions. All right. So do this. Let's do this. Nope. Option one, Trevor, you can ask questions for 10 more minutes, and then we turn it over to Q&A. Or option two, we can turn it over to Q&A right now and give you guys more time to directly engage our celebrity guest, Keston Glasgow, tonight. So put a one in the chat if you want me to ask 10 more minutes of questions, or put a two in the chat if you want me to turn it over to you guys and y'all can talk to Keston directly. I'm putting my vote in, Kes. Yeah, y'all feel free to kick me to the curb. I'm not offended at all. Yeah, okay, cool, cool. We're gonna turn it over early so we can give more time for the audience to engage
I
you, Kes.
love it.
But before we do that, bro, tell us what you got going on right now, man. What's Keston Glasgow up to? How are you impacting the world and people just like us, man, on our freedom chasing journey?
Bro, so my passion as to what I have been focusing on these last couple of months, I would say over the last year, I've been dealing with a lot of high performance clients and small groups and one-on-ones. This year, man, my focus is helping the masses. And what I mean by that is I have a group coaching program where it's really focused on two things. It's focused on reprogramming your subconscious mind, and also it's focused on achieving goals. And so there's a goal achievers aspect to it where it's clarity, where do you want to go? So you have your vision. Where do you want to go? And it's very militant based. So it's like go, 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 because people want to achieve goals. And so I call myself in that setting, I'm Colonel Kest, right? Because I'm not here
That's
to
great,
talk
man.
about your like how you feeling and what's going on in your subconscious and all of that. When we're on those accountability calls, it's go, go, go. And then when we're on the other side, that's where we dig into understanding. And so, and I lead that by studying a book that is really great. You guys, everyone should write this book down right now. It's called The Power of Awareness. The Power of Awareness. Incredible book that really helps you to understand your subconscious on a different level. And so I take people through the journey of understanding that book even more and help them reprogram their subconscious mind. And so that's my main focus in helping people get over their fears, helping them achieve their goals, helping them stop procrastinate, understanding what's keeping them back, discovering their purpose. You get all of that through working with the people that I work with right now. That's what I've been working on, brother.
Let's go, brother. That's exciting, man. That's exciting. And Keston was generous enough, you guys, to provide to us a link for the Freedom Chasers. Y'all check that out here. Caleb will drop it in the chat. He just dropped the power of awareness right there. But Keston provided a link to us if you want to work with Keston and get on your way. And I would say even accelerate your freedom chasing
So
journey.
So,
Yeah,
bro,
what's up, brother?
I made it even better for you guys because everyone that's on here now, that link that I gave you, datus, right? Like every single time you buy a car, you go test drive the car before you actually buy the car. Like, man, do I even want to drive this thing? And so you guys get a special 2 weeks free to test drive to see if this is something that you like. Maybe you don't like Colonel Kess, right? Maybe it's too much, right? So I want to make sure that you guys were a good fit for each other because I'm not a good fit for everyone. Like I said, I'm intense, although I try to get people results. And that's what we've been focused on. So with that link, you guys, and only here, you're going to get that 2 weeks free. So come check us out.
Let's go, brother. Thank you, Keston, for your generosity. And yeah, Caleb just dropped that link in the chat, so y'all go check that out. All right, we have a solid 15 to 20 minutes, you guys, for Q&A with Keston, with Colonel Keston. So raise your hand. We'll bring you up on stage, and you can ask your question directly to the man here. So who's going to start us off?
I seen a whole bunch of twos, and I don't see any hands right now.
There was a bunch of
Um,
twos, man. There was a bunch of
uh,
twos.
I know. Otherwise, I'm gonna start calling people out.
You don't want Colonel Keston to do that. There we go. There we go. Miss Lisa Russell.
Hey,
Let's get you
Lisa.
unmuted. Welcome tonight, Lisa.
Hi, thank you so much. So, one of the challenges I have is I've been there, done that. This is my 37th year in multifamily, and I enjoy it and I love it, and I've changed different positions. What kind of coaching would you give somebody that has climbed the mountain, and now I've climbed many mountains, and now I'm just kind of looking at what's next?
amazing question, and congrats on you being able to climb the mountain and being able, like, that's phenomenal. And so there are questions that most people ask themselves that most people never answer. Those questions are, where am I from? Why am I here? What can I do? Um, and so let's start with, why am I here with you? Because it sounds like, and why am I here is a question of purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I? That's identity. Why am I here is a question of purpose. And so when someone have had incredible levels of success and they're still looking for what's next, it's often an indicator of not having that purpose. And so
Okay.
are you able, I could be wrong, but I'm willing to hear, do you feel like you're doing what feels purposeful to you right now?
Yes, I do have a bigger picture in mind,
Okay.
but that bigger picture is a startup, and so it's not really paying any cash flow right now, which is the name of the game, right? But it's to bring AI into the multifamily industry so that we have the ability to actually kind of calm some of the chaos and really have transparent financials, right? So I do feel like it's pulling me forward, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
willing to do it for free, but it's also one of those that I've started doubting myself recently, and that's where I feel that the mindset challenge, because it's not what I used to do. I can run properties, I can manage companies. So I'm doing something out of my wheelhouse, I guess, is the best way to put that.
This is so good, Lisa. So good. Because oftentimes when people discover their purpose, it's typically different from what they currently do. Typically. It's like
Excellent.
Okay.
you hit it right on the head. It's typically different than what they currently do. Because if they were doing their purpose, then they would continue doing it, right? Like that just kind of makes sense. And what happens oftentimes is people turn away from doing their purpose because they don't know how to get it off the ground, because
Mhm.
it's not what they are used to. And so now they have to become a new person in this different avenue, and getting it off the ground typically sucks before it takes off. And so you go back to doing the thing that you used to do and all that type of stuff, when but that thing doesn't really make you feel fulfilled. And so you go back in the rat race because you're trying to get money and not live on purpose. And again, one of my mentors, he calls it this. He says, your work is what you were born to do. Your job is what you get paid to do. It's very different, very different. And so you're going back to your job versus doing your work. And until you figure out how to market, how to make money from doing your work, you're always going to be on that rat race. And so you got to stick it through a little bit more, like learn it, figure out the marketing behind it, figure out like all of these different things, because you have to go through the learning curve. You have to. It's like nobody escapes the learning curve. And so you're just going through your process, and like every single thing you said is normal for,
Thank you so
like,
thank you so very much, because have felt that way. I've had kind of one foot in and one foot out. And earlier when you first said you just had to declare it and make the move and make the things happen, I really get that shifted your mindset because you were all in. And I feel like
all,
I've been 50-50. And so I get that now. Thank you so much. How
all in. I love it. Drop
Thank
some
you,
fires in
Lisa.
the chat for Lisa real quick, y'all.
Yes.
It's
Let's
amazing.
go. Fires for Lisa. Come on.
That's
And as the
amazing. I love it.
and as the
My
fires are
man
getting lit
Robert,
up for
what's up,
Lisa.
bro?
Yeah, Robert died in the building. Let's get you unmuted, Robert. There we go.
Yeah, so my question kind of relates to changing environment.
Mm,
That is a process I recently went through, and for people who know me, they know I'm a natural caregiver, and a person I was caring for, they're not part of the new environment, and they weren't necessarily the best influence on the previous environment.
hmm
Uh, so do you have any good coaching tips for someone trying to move past that? You know, past feeling like you almost, I don't want to say abandoned. That's a real strong word, but
Yeah.
for someone like me who can care a lot,
hmm
yeah,
Are you are you a Christian by chance, Rob, or a believer or anything like that?
believer, yes,
Believer. Cool.
yeah.
Great. Amazing. It's easier to talk when you're a believer. So, a scripture that I read this morning, and it's highlighted in green. Like it's green. Like that's how crazy it is because this was the scripture that made me leave New York and left my parents and my brothers and my parents, my son, and all of that. It reads, and this is Matthew 10, verse 37. Matthew 10, verse 37. And obviously, I'm going to skip some and just get to the meat and potatoes of it. If you love your father or mother more than you love me, you are not worthy of being mine. Or if you love your son or your daughter more than you love me, you're not worthy of being mine. This is Jesus talking here. If you refuse to take up your cross and follow me, you are not worthy of being mine. If you cling to your life, you will lose it. But if you give it up for me, you will find it. Bro, when I read that, it was like about 4 o'clock or maybe like 5 a.m. when I read it. And I ran inside to my wife, bawling like a baby. I'm like, we gotta go to Georgia. We gotta go to Georgia.
Wow. Wow.
because nothing could be more obvious. I've been asking for a sign. I'm like, God, like if you want me to do this, because I was wrestling with it so much. I'm like, you gotta literally like come down and tell me yourself that this is what you want me to do. And how I read the Bible, because I'm a slow reader, right? I told you guys how great I did in school. I read very slow. But because I read slow, I don't really pass verses until I understand it. So it may take me a month to understand one verse because I'm like, what does this mean? What revelations are you trying to give me here? And it so happened when I said, God, you got to give me that sign. I understood the previous verse and then read that. And that was it. I was like, lost my crap, right? But I say all that to say that this is a clear environment changing scripture where giving up where you currently are is biblical. And so we cling on to the things and the family and all of these things that keep us in our preset. And we never give up the subset. And that makes us never change our mindset. That makes us never get the assets that we really want.
Yeah, the the timing and the power of what you just told me is not lost on me at all. So thank you for that, sir. I sincerely appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. And and man, could I tell you I understand how you feel? Like I feel it in my heart, bro. You know, and again, this is a major part of why community is so important especially with people that understand what you're going through and could be there for you, brother. So if there's anything I could do to connect with you and to just kind of stay locked in, man, I'm here, bro. So I always lead with God. This is just who I am. So I hope that really connected for you. Can we drop some fires in the chat for Rob real quick, y'all?
Yes, yes.
Let's drop some fires in the chat for Rob, yo.
Thank you, Robert. We appreciate that. Very good. Okay, let's get Cheryl on
Cheryl.
here. Get you unmuted, Cheryl.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing
I was
outstanding.
awesome. I have to send some fires while I do this. That's my attention. That's my attention shortage. Case in point example happening now. Um, I'm really, really honored right now. I already followed you on pretty much all platforms.
Thank you.
I don't know how to follow on podcasts, but um I actually looked into I'm pretty sure I'm gonna start a podcast. I don't know if that's happening. That's too soon for me. I don't know I'm ready yet, but I guess I don't always have say in this right now. But you couldn't be like more on like target to where I stand right now. Um, because I mean, like literally the things that are going to propel me forward, I keep feeling like the enemy is that like buzzing in my ear, those little things, those like you know how you mentioned the things don't you don't want to embrace, you don't want to leave your comfort zone. Um, like that's kind of been fighting at me for a while. Um, because, you know, like my whole family's here in Boston and I've always been like one to I'm a explorer. I'm like free spirit and stuff like that. So I really set a target like that I need to hit income goals this year. Like, I mean, I never imagined like me being the breadwinner, you know, because I always knew like, I don't know, I just had all these limited thoughts and I always kind of got um, held back by one person or another, or I let something stumble, I let like a relationship or like someone that I care a lot about. Like I'm weak. I'm a sucker. You know, like my heart's in something. Um, like it's a weak. It's my heart is like my best feature, but also can be my most struggle. Like like setback. They say the heart is treacherous, right? I think there's a scripture that says that.
So
Um,
so here's what I would say, because I could see where you're going. And again, let's start with the vision. The vision of who you want to be. Who do you want to be? Because if you follow me, then you may have seen me say this. Your environment will create your retirement, right? Like your environment, if it is that you stay in that environment, you are going to die or have the same amount of money or like as those people around you. And so if it's not in alignment and you don't want to retire in the same subset of those people, then you got to change your environment. And going back to that vision, are they in alignment with your vision? Because people could be pe- people people could be Christians and they're great people, they're believers, but they hold on to certain things in the Bible that cancels who you want to be, and you start feeling guilty for doing the things that you want to do because it makes you feel like you're greedy. Why don't they want to do the things that I want to do, right? And so you start looking at yourself, and because your identity that's in your subconscious is so identified with those people, you don't take the action in doing the things that you need to do. And so the formula never changes. And so your belief of who you need to be is going to come from that vision. And that's going to propel you to make the changes that you need to, because if it is that that vision is coming from God as to he's giving you those thoughts, those ideas, you're literally choosing other people over God, because you're not doing the things that he wants you to do to bring that vision to fruition. And so now you're being selfish. Now you're being all of these things because millions of people are probably waiting on you to become the person you need to become, to do the things that you need to do, to have the impact that you need to have.
Oh.
And so it's time to make that vision plain, make it clear, so that you could really start doing the things that you need to do, and stop playing around with God's mission and purpose for your life. Like when it gets to that level, you playing with fire.
Yeah.
That's good. That's really good.
Wow. Yeah.
Cheryl, we appreciate you. We appreciate you being here tonight and presenting the situation. And Cass, thanks for your feedback on that. That was rich, brother. That was rich. We're gonna finish with. We're gonna finish. Oh, okay. We got one last. Okay, guys, we got to do a little bit of rapid fire here. Oh, never mind. Did the hand go down? Okay, I was gonna say Jerry's
Nope,
is gonna be.
I want that hand. We're gonna do both.
Okay, cool. All right, it'll be Jerry, and then we will wrap up with Alicia. But before we do this, guys, you know we gotta show Keston some love. Okay, so I would ask everybody in attendance if you could pull out your phone and then snag a picture of your computer screen with Mr. Keston Glasgow. I'm going to do mine on 3. 1, 2, 3. And then show Kes some love on all the social media channels. Okay. Now that we got that done, where did Jerry go?
I'm right here.
Okay, awesome, Jerry. All right. What you got for us, brother? Or what you got for Keston?
Yeah, thanks for being here, Keston. I appreciate your testimony, and it's good to hear from you tonight, and appreciate you speaking in the community. We sat, I believe that we met at the real estate summit maybe a year ago or a year and a half ago.
Okay.
We sat outside the Turnberry one night and hung out a little bit and talked and stuff. But I didn't know you was from Trinidad. My wife is Trini as well. She got kind of the same story. She came at 16 and all that, so it was cool hearing that. I went in and told her, I said, "Hey, this guy's from Trinidad. You got to get on here." And she jumped on right away. So
let's go. Hey, wife.
There she is.
Love it, man. Love it. Oh, you got you a Douglas, boy. Come on. Oh, man. Alicia, how are you?
Right. Right. So it's Alicia. But yes,
Alicia, sorry.
I'm glad glad to have you and hear you speak and everything. And for me, I am having challenges in my life trying to reach um um different goals in my life physical goals and financial goals. I'm having a lot of challenges. And so it's that the physical affects my income. And so I've been trying to reach real estate goals for several years now. And every time I get on the path to and start it and nearly gonna attain something, a car accident happened. Like I've been in a car accident 2019, 2021, and again December 2023. And I've already pre that have been through back surgeries. So, but I am facing physical challenges from the back from these accidents that are very much hindering me. So it's that my mind is with everything. Um, and I start to study and I start to go to programs, and then everything is getting put in place, and then all of a sudden a car accident will happen, and so really I'm just facing frustration in life, like for the because they every time dealing with my back pain, neck pain, all this kind of stuff happening. And then with the December accident, right now I'm going to brain injury treatments twice a week. And then I have to do the exercises 3 times a day, which is consuming time. And then I'm going to orthopedic physical therapy, and I have to do that once a day. And so it's that so family pre that, within the few months before that, it's like I was getting on track and I was making traction yet again. And then I'm in a car accident again. And so I'm just facing frustration, um, dealing with these constant accidents and health challenges.
Got it, man. Thank you for sharing that. And because we could have gotten out of here and you would have probably never shared it, but something prompted you to raise your hand at that very last minute. And so I really do appreciate you sharing with the community about what you're going through. Have you when you're hungry, right? Do you notice that you could see the thing that you want to eat in your mind first? And so
Definitely.
you're like, I want a burger, right? Because you could see it in your mind and then you could have it in your hands. And so that's why advertising is a billion-dollar business, well, probably more, because they could put that image in your mind and then all of a sudden you're hungry for it. All of a sudden you just feel like having it. When you want to talk or hang out with a friend, you might see the same thing. Do you have kids?
No.
Okay. And so what I'm getting at is that most things we see here first, and then it manifests in the physical. It's a law, it's not me. And so the power of awareness does a really great job of explaining exactly what I'm saying right now. And so could it be that there's something so embedded in your subconscious mind in expecting these things to happen that they do? Because most things, not most, everything that we have and we get is because we see it. We see it here first. And if we persist in it over a period of time, it happens, which is where this whole manifestation thing comes from. And it's crazy to say because some people would say, so when people die or when like these things happen, did I manifest that? And to what I would say is reading the book, The Power of Awareness, would teach you exactly how this all works. It starts here. It starts here. I'll give you a story about my mom. My mom, when we moved to Georgia, my wife's mom, we moved because my wife's mom had leukemia. And so we actually moved to Georgia to take care of my wife's mom. She passed 3 months after. 7 months after that, my mom was diagnosed with lung cancer. And the lung cancer came, and, thank God she was able to beat it and fight it. And so a couple of months after, like, she was doing better, and, it's been 2 years now, 2 years, just about. I had a conversation with her and I said, hey, Ma, do you think that the timing of your lung cancer came about when after Dad shared information with us? And so prior to that, my dad had shared that a year and change before she was diagnosed with lung cancer, my dad had shared with us at that time that I had a 25-year-old sister. And so there were some things that came about. And so but dealing with that news, then brought on this lung cancer. And when we traced it back, it was smack immediate, like it absolute correlation. And so that cancer wasn't, she never smoked one day in her life. She don't drink. She bought it on. She didn't know that, not until afterwards in retrospect. But our mind is so powerful, and we're not aware that we literally foresee so many things and manifest it, but we're not aware of it. And so this book would help you guys to become more aware of what your mind is actually doing. And you would start to be like, oh crap, I need to become more aware that I'm having these thoughts, because it just happens subconsciously. And until we're able to start controlling that, it's going to seem like freak accidents when we're trying to avoid it, we're actually calling it, because our brain doesn't understand not. It doesn't comprehend not. So every time you say, I am not X, all it hears is saying, I am X, which is why I am is the most two powerful words in the world. It doesn't understand not. And so when you try to avoid something by doing that, you pull it closer to you. These are the things that we're going so deep in the program. So like, if you want to really go deeper and deeper and deeper, where I get on a board and I draw things just to make it like, because when you see it visually, it kind of clicks and it makes way more sense. So that's the reason why I go so much deeper into breaking these things down, because when you start understanding, man, this thing, it's incredible. I have so many analogies and so many things that would take like forever, but you're on a journey. And I think in breaking that journey, it would start with becoming more aware. And I promise you, the book is very short, but don't just read it for entertainment. You gotta read it and like I listened to chapters over months. The same chapter I would listen to over months. I've listened to this book like I can't tell you how many times. So many times. Over 50 something times. Like it's that serious. I hope that helps. I know it wasn't like an answer, but it's a guidance to the answer.
Okay, and thank you.
Thanks, Alicia.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. All right, y'all. Let's finish here with some concluding announcements. But before we do that, our brother Keston, you've blessed us tonight, bro, with your presence, with your knowledge, with the things that you've shared with us. And man, the thing is with these Zooms, they just go by so fast every time. It goes by so fast. I can tell you guys, this won't be the last time you see Keston on a Freedom Chaser Zoom. We dropped his links down there. The link to the book, Power of Awareness, is there in the chat. So make sure you guys capture that before we roll out tonight. Keston, any final last words that you have for us Freedom Chasers, brother?
Man, thanks again for having me, man. It's always a pleasure being here. And guys, your mind is the most important thing. Like you have to become the person who you need to become to do the things that you desire to do, to have the things that you want to have. And so it's the most important thing that any single person could ever focus on and become this entrepreneurship journey is a becoming journey. When you get to your first million and you became the person that you needed to become, that then you're going to need to become somebody else to get to 10 million. Then you need to become somebody else to get to 20, 100. Like even at 100 million, you need to become somebody else to get to a billion. You need to become somebody else to like it's a becoming, and it's not only for money, it's in your being a good husband, being a good cousin, being a good, like, what's your vision? What is your vision? Get that vision down and become the person you need to become. That's it, brother.
Stellar. Thank you, Keston.